Yeah, hello. I'm Frederik from Blind Guardian. I'm actually the drummer, the so-called newbie after all those years. I'm still the newbie, 17th year now, and still people ask me, "So you're the new guy?" It's like, yes, I am the new guy. So 17 years have not changed that much. Um, we are just about to release a new album. It's called The God Machine, and I guess we're talking about that a little bit today.
That we are, my friend. Thanks for joining us today, Frederik.
You're welcome, of course.
So, as you mentioned, mate, Blind Guardian have scheduled your latest album, The God Machine, for release on September the 2nd, which is still about 4 weeks away, mate. So, what's this period like for the band? Like, everything's finished and you're just waiting for it to come out. Like, do you get anxious? Do you get nervous? Do you not let it worry you? What happens?
Well, actually, this time we had a long anticipation phase since the actual album was finished last year, I think in July or so, and we had to wait until then due to some production problems with vinyl pressing. That they were waiting for material, and there was no room when to press the vinyls and all that stuff. So then there was a problem with the touring being postponed, and that also is not a smart move to release an album when you cannot tour with it or for it. So that's why we were waiting and kind of were forced to wait for another year and try to stretch that with some extra outputs, creating some video clips and teasing already with some material that people get an impression already beforehand. Um, so yeah, finally, 2nd of September is the day, but we are now touring with festivals and still dealing with Corona problems somehow all over the place. So there's no real time to be nervous about the album release, and we of course cross our fingers that everything works out perfectly. But yeah, well, we set the tracks, and it's the best prepared we could, and so we would assume we stay positive and not in a COVID way. We stay positive that everything will work out in the end. Yeah, well,
Yeah, you got to say it these
nowadays
days.
so many people are positive about that, and it's not a positive thing after all.
So, tell us a bit more about The God Machine from a musical point of view and what you're going for with it.
Okay, the God Machine is, I would say, kind of a seizure in the band's latest discography. That means we came from a longer path working with orchestral sounds, kind of evolving that to a certain eclipse, which culminated in the Legacy of the Dark Lands album, which is only orchestra and Hansi's voice singing along to that. So then we kind of felt, where should we go from there? What should we build up from there? We wanna evolve somehow, and we were missing a little bit the band focus lately. For the orchestra needed a lot of room, production wise and also composition wise. So we decided to. I mean, it was clear for everybody pretty much that we don't want to work with the orchestra for the next time, and we want to go straight forward with focusing on the band, which kind of was clear pretty soon during the songwriting phase that we had some experiments as always, and then all of a sudden we all knew that it was going more into the straightforward direction. So what people can expect from the album is a kind of straight speed metal-ish, powerful, energetic album that has not too many outside of the box extra sounds, I would say. Like I think we're not having that much of the folkloristic elements anymore. It's modern sound. It's kind of darker. It's very, very intense sound. Like we did already change a lot of the production ways to achieve a new sound. And also in the compositions, it's like more modern, more like this, I would say cyborg, scientific approach. More than that, than let's say a classic fantasy in the medieval world or something like that.
Yeah. So to date, you released the songs Violent Shadows and Blood of the Elves. So would you say that they're a good sonic representation of the album as a whole?
Yes, Lot of the Elves is definitely a good representative. This is a very fast and powerful song where you have hardly time to take breath. And yeah, it kind of includes the elves again. But it's not that much about the classical fantasy topics again. It's more as the name says, the God machine. So every song kind of deals with a sort of god or god type creature um, that has to struggle for their existence and also asking themselves existential questions of yeah what I mean, definitely, Hansi is the one to ask for about the lyrical content. But yeah, this was it was never a concept album, but it turned out that he wrote lyrics that all of us, yeah, we noticed that they all dealt with that god type creatures, and some are archaic, some are artificial, like an artificial, like yeah, cyborg intelligence or so, and so this is yeah, the songs that you mentioned are definitely a good representative for the whole tenor of the album.
And when talking about the album in the press release, it says that Blind Guardian appear to be in touch with the ghosts of their own past more than ever before. What would they mean by that?
That's a good question, because sometimes we feel a little bit different than what people might interpret into the music. It was somehow we were not thinking going back to the roots or so, not intentional. It was more like a hey, we should just go a little straighter. We want to have a red line in the songs again. We want to maybe, of course, remembering the trademarks that were in Somewhere Far Beyond and Imaginations from the Other Side. So maybe it came up by us touring with the Imaginations album and then later on preparing the Somewhere album, but that was actually later than the songwriting phase. So it's if any reference could be mentioned, then it was the Imaginations album that we played a lot, and maybe we liked that that the songs there had like this straight red line that led through the whole song, and it was not too confusing and too playful, you know, from playing with details too much, and this rougher structures or the rougher sound, that was what we kind of wanted to achieve and what we felt. We had some experiments beforehand in the studio that we were rehearsing together and finding some rehearsing some songs, and then we decided that those playful songs were not really working in combination with the straightforward songs that we in the end chose for the album. So there's more material that we didn't use, but we of course have it on hold for hopefully a future release, because it's of course too nice to be forgotten about.
God. And the press release also calls this the start of a new era for the band. Would you agree with that?
A new era. Well, that's big words for sure.
Be a big call after 40
New
years.
era. I would rather call it a seizure or a little a milestone or something, like a landmark, not a landmark. You know what, like this marks that are on the path.
Yeah.
It just shows that like the orchestral phase for now has been finished, and we're orientating in a new direction, which is not a real new direction. It's actually yeah, kind of limiting more the sound to a very straight power metal
Yeah.
band, and very fast, very intense. Also, Hansi's voice is so much more aggressive on that one, and especially Architects of Doom, he's really screaming, and you hear the desperation that he puts in, and also some certain frustration that, of course, came along with, let's say, like this whole COVID frustration that everybody goes through. And he definitely vented a lot on this album on his yeah, personal let's call it frustration over the whole situation and being somehow helpless, exposed to what's happening in the world. And then this is our way of dealing with it too, and it finds its way into the music. And but it leaves us, at the end of the day, it leaves us as cool and balanced characters, so we can get all the energy into the music, and that is kind of like a therapy for us then in the end.
I love the cover too, mate. Like it's a sort of it's a creature warrior sort of thing, but it's just a beautiful wash of reds and whites together. Like it's very impactful. How does it tie in with the theme of the album?
Yeah, that was also kind of correlating with what you just asked. Is it what is a new start? I would say not new start, but also there you see a new approach in the artwork, and it's definitely something that we have not had so far. A very clear figure on an almost white background. It's very eye-catching, I think. It's very unusual colors, but still a very strong impact. Has a very strong dynamic like this. You see the figure, or I call it always like a angel or godlike figure. It's to me it's an angel, kind of rushing with a lot of energy with that spear kind of thing, pointing to the right, and it has like a lot of motion and dynamic, even though it's very sharp and very focused, you know. And we all felt when we saw that artwork, it was just a sample artwork that he had on his Peter Moorbacher was the artist, and on his webpage when we checked him out, there were some, like right away, of I think 7 artworks that we liked and we like fell in love with right away, and this was the one that felt exactly representing what the album stands for, or what the music sounds like to us. And then he said, well, this you can have it, but it's not exclusive for you because I used it already. It's like, okay, we don't care. We want that artwork. And he actually made one for us for after our wishes, and that we explained, okay, we want this and that. And it's also a cool motive, but in the end we went to the first love, and that was to me the red angel in the web. It's a very strong,
very strong
image, and also recognizable. I think it sticks out a lot on, I think that can only be, and also represents that the pureness, or no, purity is the word, sorry, the purity of the music that we want to approach, and the clear sound and the power that we wanted to transport with the music and the production. And I think it matches really, really well with the music.
We've touched on this a little bit before, mate, but you're still the new guy in the band. Like, you joined Blind Guardian in 2005. So were you actually a fan of the band before you joined them?
Yes, I was. And actually, for me now, the circle closes with touring with the Somewhere Far Beyond album, because back in 93, I think it was, or 92, I cannot really quite remember because I was pretty young, 12 or 13 years of age, I got introduced to the band on a radio show, and fell in love with them right away. And next day I had to run to the store and buy the CD, and was super happy with what I found and discovered. And so then when I heard, of course, that, and it turned my favorite band, by the way, that is important to mention. So I couldn't wait for any new release to come out, and never managed to watch them live though. So my first live show with Blind Guardian was the one that I played.
Oh, that's
and then I heard that Tolman had left the band, and I just decided, hey, I'm just done with my drum studies on college, and why am I not trying for that? I'm kind of I